All right, good evening. This is Charles with the Exodus Logistics Learning Center. Friday evening, Freight Broker 101 training for beginners. Tonight we'll do a continuation on our broker agent side, and then also the infrastructure of your brokerage, what some of the things you may need. Um, so yeah, before I do that, Mr. Watson, I think that was you that sent me the text concerning watching the videos in the back office and accessing certain things, Zooms and all that stuff. Are you able to speak? Okay. I see him on, but I can't get him to seem to speak, but that's fine. So anyway, we were talking about, and I'm gonna update you, Carlos, because you can, I guess, provide some kind of some pointers and insights into this too, as far as broker agents, right? Um, well, before that, the freight brokerage, how to start your, what kind of software you may need for your brokerage initially, like maybe a good CRM, a good TMS system, perhaps. Some of this stuff you may not need because you may not have the customers to substantiate covering the expense of those software. You haven't had generated any revenue yet. So why would it be wise to expense yourself with that stuff early on, or would it be wise to have it in place so when you do need it? So that's I guess, a toss up with someone who's kind of on a budget when they just started their brokerage. Um, Other things like a TMS system like Rocket, Rose Rocket, Ascend, um, some kind of load board like that, DAT, things like that. How did you is a logistics doctor, correct?
Yes.
How did you come into the game when you initially did your back office infrastructure as far as um, documentation and things like that, software?
Well, I had a guy that I went into business with. We started a trucking company. So I was driving and dispatching. And through that process, we had an account with Bear Paint. And we were moving in the summertime like 5,000 loads. He had 4 trucks. The guy who owned the tire shop down in McDonough, Georgia, he had like 16. It still wasn't enough. So we said, hey, man, we're going to start a brokerage. And me and this guy, we started a brokerage together. So he handled it all at that time because he's been in logistics for 30, 40 years and he was doing the billing. But when it came time for me to do it, I just went ahead on and, just got to ITS dispatching. Back then it was like $50.
Okay, so the ITS dispatch is that's a part of the truck stop software, internet truck
That's
stop.
a part. That's a part of truck stop software. So I went ahead on and got something like that. So, but we were already moving freight, and I've already drove. But you know, if you have to do it old school, handwritten bills. A lot of guys I deal with in Florida still to this day. Tom Lane down there in Florida, them guys will send you over a confirmation, man, with a handwritten bill.
Mm.
As simple as that. So sometimes it's cheaper. You might say, hey, this year, man, they get handwritten bills. We filing. I got one of my office managers. I don't give a damn. She files and computer it. It's just she's just old school. And she dispatches, she's 72. She dispatches 12 trucks a day at $150 a piece. And she's been doing it for 15, 20 years.
Hmm. So we went over this a while back too, yourself, Mr. Nelson. What is the cost? What are some of the costs involved, or what is the cost of freight brokering? Because most people think it's just easy. You just start a brokerage and you just up and
To
running.
get to get one up and started.
Well, to get not only get one up and started, but to to maintain. I know the cost like of getting up and started.
Oh, well, everyone's gonna be different because with your bond. If you don't have the money to put up cash, you're going to go through a freight bond company. or a broker bond company is going to determine through your credit score.
Right. Your surety
So
bond, your trust fund. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So that could ranges from $900 a month to $1,500 a month. It just all depends.
Now, what about no? So after you get your brokerage up and running, the costs incurred, like let's say you got a factoring company or you're invoicing or you're dealing with other things. There's cost that could incur there. So after
Oh
you,
yeah,
so that's what I
yeah.
mean there.
Well, first of all, you have to get it in your head that it costs money to broker loans. A lot of guys would just say, well, hey, as long as I can just make $50 off of this load, I'm good. And if I can move 10 a day, I'm okay. Well, one load you might move, it might cost $120 to move that load.
Now, what do you mean by that? It'll cost you the broker to move that load.
Okay, so we have factoring costs and a driver call in and say, well, hey, I want that load. Well, they're gonna want cash advances.
Okay.
That costs money. They're gonna want some quick pay, and then after um, some of the factoring companies may charge you 1% a week until your customer pay.
Okay.
So it all depends on what you have worked out, but it costs money. You have some of these guys that have factoring companies, you're talking to computers. If you're not savvy enough, you can't get in touch with somebody immediately. It's not a good deal for you.
Okay. So some of the it costs money to broker loads. So factoring costs. You're saying one
You know,
percent.
your phone lines, um, we have tracking for like macro point, things like that.
Okay. And you
And
said 1% for a week for the factory company until
yeah,
the
until they pay. That's what some of them charge.
they being the shipper, the customer.
No, not the customer, the factoring company.
So you're
So,
saying
the factoring company go ahead on and pay me my money. They're gonna keep back a percentage
right.
until that company every week that some of them will snatch 1%. Some will snatch more than that.
Okay. So that's an expense tracking GPS tracking systems like MacroPoint, for kites or whoever you're using.
Yeah.
Um,
So, sometimes what we do, go to your local banker, talk with them and tell them, ask them, do they buy bills? We used to meet with this banker when we have a whole lot of bills, and he'll just buy them bulk and just give you a good percent.
yeah. Mm.
So,
So
the key is going to be, if you're not ready, but you can stand it, yeah, go ahead and open your business. But if you're just looking for something quick overnight and you don't have a good infrastructure and a damn good mentor and you just getting into this, it can get frustrating.
so now infrastructure meaning some of the things we just went over the key points, but what about like documentation? You're gonna need your shipper contracts and your carrier contracts, right? The paperwork, things.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're gonna need that. You're gonna need. We have different things for like sales, different promos, depending on how you want to do it and what you're trying to attack. I just tell any broker, yeah, concentrate on your area, but you can haul freight in the United States anywhere. So you better get on them cold calls. You better find you somebody in the city that you maybe can network with that can pull you some contracts, or you can come over and they can kind of show you around and lay of the land. And you got to be willing to get out there, but you always can make them cold calls.
Yeah. Now there's other avenues other than cold call, correct? Other ways to get to
Oh yeah.
shippers. LinkedIn.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. LinkedIn, places like even Facebook.
Yeah, some groups like that. Yeah. Visiting local facilities, local customers if you're gonna start local and
Oh
brand.
yeah, always good to put feet on concrete.
Yeah.
And one of your best places is the airport. You got an airport near you where you can put your hands on. That's a money maker anyway. So if you just have to, it's not like common freight by a little bit. So you're dealing with time sensitive freight. People have to be licensed. TWIC cards, they're not the same as ocean TWIC cards. You have airport TWIC cards and ocean TWIC cards for the ports. So you have your airport and your seaports. And those are totally different because you might be able to get in the airport, but a lot of times you won't be able to do like runway pickups, uh, different sensitive area things.
Oh, off the tarmacs and stuff like that.
There you go.
So,
And another thing I want to mention to a lot of these guys, a lot of these major airports won't even let us come in there with diesel engines anymore.
right. So
You
you
don't have an
like
electrical vehicle or a gas vehicle, you out of gas getting in these places.
TSA and STA credentials,
Yeah.
security threat assessments. Those are the airport things. Okay. All
And
right.
you can get those at your local passport place or go down to your nearest airport. I know in Atlanta they have a 24-hour international terminal
So
for
you mentioned airports. You're saying that there's there's enough freight coming up through the airports that you can
tons,
broker that.
tons, tons.
Okay. Air cargo, where you can come in with tractor trailers to get air cargo and ship them to wherever they need to go.
Yeah.
Okay.
A lot of times you just have to build relationships with local warehouses around those airports that have like international trade zones where they can leave their freight there for a certain amount of time, don't have to pay taxes.
Right.
And that airport, I know we have the world's busiest airport, and it freight wise, Amazon has a runway. They have 5, 6 other runways, and
Where
this
you
place is
where you, what airport are you located?
Atlanta.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Okay.
So, and they're getting ready to start moving a lot of more. They're too packed to these local municipal airports, the one they're going to let them in. So it's going to get real, real, real busy within the next 2 years to where this thing going to flatten out. But so many people are going to get out. It's a good time to get in.
Hmm. Interesting.
A lot of people got in and rode the wave. Wave stopped. No motor. What you gonna do? Well, I'm out of it.
And it's it's good to get as many customers as possible to keep yourself floating.
Always, always. And you're not just a freight broker. You're offering services. If you call in somebody and they sell an iced tea, you ask them, is it a dry product or a refrigerated product? Offer some services. Don't just call and just ask the people, can I have your freight?
Mhm.
It don't take but 2 minutes. It can be hauling tires. Put something together. We stack. We do certain things with this product. If it's poultry, we don't just, hey, I'm calling. I want to haul your freight. Let the people know what they're doing.
So basically, adding value to your brokerage.
Adding value to your brokerage, and you at least, I tell people when I train and I tell people in the office, you at least supposed to have 25 services you should be providing to these customers. And it's as simple as pallet jack service, lift gate service, door-to-door service, just little small things, but you ought to at least be offering these 25 different services every day.
Now, are those services, are they included with your price point as a broker, or are there separate prices involved with that?
No, no, they're always separate prices with it. Everything is separate
Okay.
because you might have a load that's going down to Florida that requires a 53-foot trailer, but they will load a 48, but hey, it's going to need a lift gate. So when the white glove services start, that's when, the prices get real sticky.
Okay.
And, when I call, I ask the guy, hey, what are your toughest lanes? Throw me a couple of your toughest lanes. See, can I work with those? I'm not looking for no pie.
Hmm.
A lot of time it's LTLs going up the East Coast or something.
So now,
I'll take them.
what's the difference between that now? Because some brokers may not even understand that concept. The FTLs and the LTLs.
Yeah, your FTLs, your full truckloads, and your LTLs are less than truckloads. And so you try to consolidate from a wide area or where you're at to send things. Like you might have a lane that's going up to New York. So you might have stops in South Carolina, North Carolina, Virginia, Delaware, PA, then New York.
Okay. So you and all those LTL order, they're coming from one source, but they're going to different locations. You just consolidate.
No, well, no, they could be coming from 300 sources to be consolidated to one lane source. So
Okay.
like what I do, you come in the warehouse and you'll see a bunch of numbers from 1 to 300. So
Okay.
we've already worked it out before those drivers get there to know where those pallets are going. So when that driver get there, we give him a manifest,
Right.
give him a sheet, and he have to put that pallet goes to location 18. This pallet goes to location 10. So once that lane is consolidated, it's ready to go. But it might have 50 pallets on it, and then 50 pallets came from 50 different places.
So you mentioned 50 pallets because only so many pallets can go on a trailer. So with LTLs, you're double stacking.
Well, they can be triple stacked sometime or stack 5 times because you might have one layer here, 2 layers there, and you have to stack, 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 stack. It's an art to it.
So you're pretty much maximizing that space in that trailer for real.
You're maximizing it. That's why a lot of your LTL carriers will only allow you to book no more than like 7,000 pounds at a time. And then you get into the full truckload division. Once you go to getting too heavy, they want to keep it to where they can keep their pallets at maximum capacity on that truck.
Okay.
And the way that they have the GPS tags that you can put on the pallets now, it's a whole lot easier, man, knowing where your freight is.
Yeah, and tracking it. Yeah.
Yeah,
This helps you with the broker so you can update your customer either on the phone or email or through the system, I'm assuming.
I seen a guy. He stopped. I thought he was asleep, and he kept moving the truck like every hour. But he was telling me he was sleeping. He didn't know he had tracking on the pallets,
Hmm.
and he was playing games, man. I don't know what he was doing, but I got another driver to go get the trailer, and he didn't even know it.
Wow.
So knowing where your product and things are is a big plus to it. Eases your mind.
So the other driver, so the trailer was uncoupled from the first driver's.
No, no, it wasn't uncoupled. I had to call his company,
Okay.
and they said, "Well, hey, man, we keep another key up on the truck." He just pulled it out, and we just went ahead on with the load and delivered it.
Let me flip it a little bit and go to the relationship with the because I'm going to have to entertain this with this company I'm working with now. It's called Ping Freight. They're out of Texas, but my partner he's in Virginia, but the company was based in Texas. Their MC's a year old, but we're looking to bring on agents. So, what is your opinion about the relationship between the broker and the broker agent as it relates to their responsibilities are, as it relates to how much percentage they're going to make, depending on book of business and all these other factors? Who's responsible for what? If it's their customer or your customer, if something goes wrong, who takes the liability? Things of that nature.
I try to keep a I try to keep it industry standard of, hey, what do the big guys charge when you go to them, and what book of business you have? And now we can sit down and talk about what we need to pay. You know, uh, Landstar, they've just started over the years allowing the average broker to come in, but to be a real true Landstar broker, you got to have a $500,000 in sales, man. Active,
Active, yeah.
active. They play no games. So, if I tell a guy, hey man, come in at a 70-30 split,
So
a lot of guys don't like
70,
it,
30,
but
72. Who gets to 70?
I get to 70. I do a 70-30 split until until you build until you build your customer base up to $2,000.
Okay. And that's consistent freight generating $2,000.
Well, if hey, you have a bad week, it's 15 1,000. Once we break that threshold, it changes. That's it.
And
You know how to get there.
right. And the split goes from 70/30 to what after they break the threshold?
Well, now it flips. If it's my freight, it's 70/30. If it's his freight, it's 70/30.
Got it.
Once you get to 5,000, now we can kind of talk about a 60/40. And this and like I said, with these big companies, man, you can't even talk about nothing like that.
Okay. And then as far as liability, let's say um the agent's customer or the agent moves some freight with the agent's customer and the carrier that the agent got, something happened and there was a claim or something that created some kind of expense, some kind of liability. Who covers that? Is it under the broker because it's their authority, or is it does the agent is it in a broker agent contract? Um, that particular
Well,
scenario.
it's in that broker agent contract, but if it's the driver's fault, the driver's insurance will cover it.
Okay.
That's why you never take a load, give a driver a load until you get a certificate of insurance.
And are you listed as a certificate holder?
Yes, because
Okay.
if you're not, it's gonna be some problems.
Okay. So I'm speaking to Mr. Carlos Walker, logistics doctor, right?
Yes,
Uh, does warehousing, freight brokering, trucking, correct?
yes,
Okay.
and food processing now.
Food processing. Your who was that? Your sister, right? You was dealing with.
Yes,
Okay. Okay.
yes.
So
See, next year, uh, I would say probably around August, the dressing should be in stores in Atlanta. We're gonna do a trial run here first, and then
okay.
try to go nationwide. But we've already have a contract with Cisco Foods. They're gonna sell it up under their private label.
But we have a Cisco here in Suffolk, Virginia.
Oh yeah, yeah, you do. Yeah, right
Yeah.
there at the bridge. I
Yeah,
used to go
right
over
there
there a
at the
lot.
yeah, Monitor Merrimack. Yeah. Yeah. You know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
Out in
so it'll
Harborview.
be it'll be um it'll be out soon.
And what's the name of the product?
Phyllis Southern style dressing.
Okay.
So she's supposed to have a couple of more products. We're gearing up to release probably about 10 more products, franchising and shelf stable products.
So you already got you pretty much handling the 3PL piece of this. You arranging it for the transportation and everything.
Well, that's how a lot of these guys go out of business that start food companies. The logistics kill them. If you don't have somebody that's telling you what's really going on, man, they'll rob you blind. And it was killing a lot of my customers trying to get it there and trying to get it there at a good price.
So how many customers does Logistics Doctor have
As far as like on the food processing side,
on the broker side?
on our broker side, I would say probably about 300 customers. Now, remember I told you how I get my customers. I go with a lot of farmers. So I'm probably set up with 200 farmers.
Yeah. And with farmers, they pretty much need to have their products.
Hey, because it sees,
Yeah.
hey, it's running. Let's go. It's all hands on deck.
So you said 200 farmers. Man.
So you set yourself up with the seasonal, and you could be able to run year round.
So you're at the beginning stages of that supply chain with the raw material farmers
Yes,
and
potatoes, um,
onions.
yeah, onions, avocados, taking freight out of Florida during that time of season when they're doing citrus, they're doing cabbages, they're doing corn. Georgia doing a lot of mixed greens, collard greens, turnips, mustard greens, cabbage, uh, acorn squash. So you get set up with as many farms as you do. Watermelon seasons, your big crops. These people don't usually turn you down when you get set up because they're gonna send out a blast email anyway.
So you just provided the best service and then keep running with them.
Yeah, know what you're talking about. They know when they talk to certain people, you know what you're talking about. And once again, offering services. A lot of services they're not going to give you. People already have it. But we run sweet potatoes out of Mississippi, which is a big area for sweet potatoes. And they will send the sweet potatoes over to either a warehouse that I use for LTL cross docking, or they'll send it up here to my warehouse up here, and we'll work something. But usually I leave it in Atlanta. They'll send it. They might send 50 pallets, 30 pallets, 5 pallets to go on one truck on that day, or they might have 6 trucks come in and pick up 2 or 3 pallets at a time. And you're not making money on the brokering side, but you're making it on the LTL side. You do that for them, they'll start looking out for you with different things.
Yeah. So it seems like your I guess for lack of a better word, your niche is more like the farmers, getting into that area.
Well, yes, but you know, we deal with a lot of other customers. One of my dealing with a lot of Chinese food distributors, ton of them. Sometimes they can get low ball, get crazy, but they move a ton of freight.
Like rice and stuff.
It's 100 items on the Chinese restaurant board. So whatever you see up there, they moving everything from duck to lobster.
Hmm.
They right now in the wintertime they get a lot of their vegetables. They grow them up in upstate New York along the Great Lakes, Dunkirk, New York. Their cabbages, their radishes, and things like that. Their root vegetables.
Man. Let me pause here for a second to see if there's any questions for you, because you got you said a mouthful right here. You got all these customers and you have all this. Oh, you got over 20 some odd years or more in the industry, correct?
Oh yeah, yeah. I'll be 49 in February. I've been at a CDL since I was 18. So I couldn't drive over the road, but by the time I turned 21, I could just only drive in the state at 18. But
Hmm.
I've been in logistics and trucking, yeah, for over 20 years.
Wow. Any questions for Mr. Carlos, Mr. Walker? And then Mr. Watson, if you can unmute yourself. I know you had a question when you texted me, but no questions for Mr. Carlos? This is interesting. See, a person like me, I usually try to pick your brain. And we
Yeah.
still gotta have a conversation about U-ship, by the way.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I
Uh,
told you I moved some bees on there. Everything went good. They don't accept no dead bees.
okay, interesting. Now the broker, because I gotta set up some broker agent contracts because I got some individuals I want to bring under my partner's brokerage. So this is gonna be basically bare bone off the ground. The individuals have some experience that I'm dealing with, but we want to make sure it's done correctly. So I probably lean on yourself, Mr. Nelson, a few other people, my mentor, Mr. Irwin, to make sure it's done correctly. So, but and that's why I wanted to ask you the question about the broker agent, the book of business, who gets what and when and how and when they get it, when does it change, at what point, what dollar value and things like that.
Well, so many brokers have different. Some brokers will tell you, hey, you come with a customer, you leave, you can't take it. Some brokers have it to where it's so competitive. to where if you don't move your freight from your customer in a certain amount of time, another broker can go to your customer and get your customer within the network.
And that's in the contract?
Oh yeah. Hey, if you ain't doing it, or you gonna leave it for somebody else to get it, or somebody else in the company should be able to go get it.
I see from a broker standpoint why that would be good. Why it would be good from a broker standpoint because that customer is still moving, whether this agent is doing it or another agent is doing it. So now,
Yes.
right,
So, but if you're doing what you're supposed to do, you're good.
right. I understand. Yeah, it just seems kind of well, it's business.
Hey man, I worked for a chick for 8 months moving high dollar beef loads, and she was paying me $50 a load,
Okay.
and I learned a lot from her.
Yeah, it just keep yeah, because you don't want it to be as a broker, you don't want your agents to be stagnant. So
Well, she had so much of it, so she really threw me a bone. She
okay,
really threw me a bone. So she had so much of it, and and she could trust me. So one thing I will always appreciate her for that. But man, she had a lot of freight, man. Ice cream, uh, just man. Alexa had a ton of freight because she worked for a ton of people. Feed the children. She ran the operation. She ran operations over at JB Hunt.
yeah,
And this chick, man, had a book of business. The only thing she got to do is just blow the dust off of it.
yeah. Fishel, you had your mic unmuted. Did you have a question, Fishel? I thought he had a question, but he was unmuted for a second. But okay, doesn't
So
look
yeah, uh, just be ready to deal with your drivers. Hey, somebody need to be working. If it's a load out there, somebody need to be able to get in contact with you 24 hours.
now. As far as the broker agent relationship, again, as far as okay, how much responsibility are you giving the agent as it relates to tendering a specific load from a specific shipper, whether it's their customer or not? If they've never done it before, I'm sure there's some level of internal training you got to give them on how to
So,
move it.
so what, far as them billing out
Well, not even building out, but just moving
or
it over the truck,
setting the load up.
setting the load up, making it a
Oh yeah, yeah,
Raycon.
yeah. Everything is shown to you, so you're not in the blind. We work with you till you're ready to go, and it's pretty simple because a lot of the key places have where you can just go on YouTube and look at your videos. But by the time you start working them daily and building them, it'll come natural. You don't have to be a rocket
Right.
scientist to just pretty much just feeding everything back in. It's simple. So
Now building them out, I'm assuming the broker, the brokers will be responsible for building it out, right? You want to handle all the financial parts, right? You wouldn't rely that to the agent, I would assume.
yeah, once they get finished with their customer, they'll put everything in the bill out, and then we'll send the bill out.
Right, invoicing and all that stuff to the
Yeah,
customer.
yeah, and that's if you're not dealing with a factoring company.
Okay, so
You
if you're
know,
dealing
you know,
with
you,
directly
you
with
know,
the customer, if you're dealing directly with the customer, then you got to deal with their net terms, whatever
there
they.
you go. So that's why a lot of truck drivers holler, "You brokers making all the money. You gonna wait for 45, 90 days for your money, brother?
Right,
Go up there and get the contract."
right. Now, if you're working with a factory company, you I guess you're building out with the factory company, and then you're just paying what the factory company charges to advance you what they need to advance you, whatever the contract.
Well, I usually have, it's base pay 30 day, no fee. Anything after that, you're gonna have to pay.
Okay,
So if you want quick pay, we have 48-hour quick pay. You can get 7 day quick pay. We can make it 8 day quick pay. Other than that, it's 30 days.
and those are different
Now,
percentages, like 3%, 5%, whatever the numbers are.
yeah, it all depends. because that's how you're able to recoup some of your money from the factoring companies
through the carriers.
through the carriers. There you go. They want
So,
those services. They're going to have to pay for.
so factoring charges 2% to
You
factor,
might you
charge
might charge you might charge 5.
to the carrier to make your money. Yeah, and you keep the difference.
There you go. And one thing I want to tell the brokers when these drivers say you're keeping all the money, these corporations and these people we deal with, they have DAT boards and they look at the rates. They know what the hell is going on. You think they're gonna give me a loan for $4,000 and I ain't gonna be able to give you but 1,000? Who's the fool, man? These big corporations with law firms, logistics departments themselves, and you think some broker's gonna outsmart them?
Right.
It's unbelievable. Now, that's not to say that your top 5 brokers in America, they got relationships with the government and everybody else.
Who are they, by the way? TQL, CH Robinson.
Well, CH is the number
Coyote.
one, and they're the oldest. And TQL is UPS bought Coyote.
Okay.
Uh, some of these new
Landstar.
startups companies are Landstar.
Yeah. Okay. So that's 4 right there. Yeah. CH, TQL, Coyote, Landstar. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, so what about the notion that, because you always hear, I hear this a lot, you never tell the shipper what you're paying the customer, and then you never tell the customer what you never tell the carrier what the customer paid you as a broker.
Well, now they got it to where the driver can request what he pay.
Yeah, I saw that. I think that was through some FMCSA.
Yeah, but but once you sign that contract that you waive your rights, they don't let you see nothing. And if you don't want to sign that contract, you don't haul no freight for
Yeah.
it. It shouldn't matter. We run a business around here. If we're selling fried chicken, we're selling legs. You get your legs for $50 a case, and I get mine for $30. That's not your business.
Right. Yeah. So one pretty much one hand washes the other in a sense, the shipper should.
And common sense is everybody know their bottom line. I may have a brand new truck with a brand new trailer with 2 brand new houses and an old lady and a wife. Hey man, I need a lot of money. Or I could be the guy, been with my wife for 30 years. The house is paid for. We have 2 paid for cars and we're good.
Right.
So, everybody don't need the same, but nobody's here to waste anybody's time.
Now, when you were saying going after shippers, you're mainly asking about their outbound lanes, right?
Well, no, I'm asking about any logistics,
Anything.
anything. I don't care what it is. I told you, go to your local schools. Uh, every one of them have an off-site logistics site. All that food and school supplies, all that stuff have to be brought in.
Yeah.
We'll get set up with them. The same as all your county buildings, all your local city municipalities, all that. Become their off-site warehouse. Anything y'all need to be brought in, send it here and I'll bring it to your door.
So you're like an intermediary in that sense.
Hey man, you're providing services.
We'll store it until you need it. We'll charge for the storage, and then we'll arrange for the transport.
There you go.
I didn't realize the
If
school
you,
and municipalities thing either.
oh yeah, and see around here, the county feed people every Saturday, like in DeKalb County. They have like 5 or 6 different sites where they give out over 800 to 800 people at every site. I was doing it. I had it on my Facebook page, but we would go pick the chicken up from Marjack, halal chicken, and take it to them.
Hmm.
So these things had to be picked up, man.
Right. So now this is like out of the box thinking now when it comes to broker.
Totally, totally out of the box. If you're
Yeah.
not thinking out of the box, nothing wrong with tradition because you're gonna need that. But if you're not thinking out of the box on who you can put your hands on, look, construction companies. You tell me what construction company you don't go by and you don't see two dry-van trailers that they've been had for 30 years, but they still moving.
Yeah.
We get calls sometimes, or we look on the board, they'll have I picked a construction trailer up full of loading docks, went 20 miles and made $800.
Wow. Outside the box.
And up here in North Georgia, we have about 15 Kubota tractor plants. They make everything from your big Kubota tractors to those ATV vehicles.
Who's their competitor? John Deere?
I don't even think John. Well, John is always gonna be the man, but that Kubota kicking out some things, man.
Yeah. Yeah, I've heard of Kubota.
Yeah, they're real big up here in North Georgia, Gainesville area, and they're getting ready to open up a rail port in Gainesville. They're building that right now. Going to take 75,000 trucks off the road in between Savannah, Georgia, and Atlanta.
Man.
And they're going to ship all the
Savannah,
freight up. Man,
Savannah's
Savannah's on fire.
Savannah's the port hub. So are they gonna start putting it on the rails and coming out of the ports instead of the trucks?
Yes, because Savannah is one of the only rail on the East Coast. They got two rail companies running out of it. Plus, remember, they have an express train that comes out of Florida every day. FLS, Florida East Coast Railroad. They have 6 trains on the northbound tracks and 6 trains on the southbound track. And they have a train that leaves like every 5 hours going each way. And they have an express train that leaves the port of Miami every morning. It stops in the port of Everglades, the port of Fort Lauderdale, and then it shoots straight up to Charlotte, North Carolina.
Yeah. And then Norfolk Southern just moved their corporate headquarters from Norfolk down to Atlanta.
No, it been there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it been down here. They done built a new building. But see, that's when Norfolk and Southern Railroad came together. They moved it down here.
So who's the other line? Is it CSX over there or
Warren Buffett owns CSX and BNSF.
okay, that's out west, BNSF, Burlington
Yeah,
Northern.
but they got yards here, buddy. CSX is in the south. They're located in Jacksonville.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, Buffett's not playing, period. Have you ever been to Memphis and seen that rail yard BNSF got out there?
Uh-uh.
It's scary to me. Every time I go to a container yard or a rail yard, man, I'm not used to that type of fast action. They will run you over and kill you, man.
Mm.
Them boys getting paid by the load. Get out of their way.
Yeah.
We used to go in there and pick up, they just call it kangaroo meat for McDonald's. The cows, they ain't got no fat on it. It's just pure lean meat. And they take the fat from the slaughterhouses and mix it with it to make the burgers.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we had a contract with Sam Kane Meats out of Texas one time, bringing all that fat to Conyers, Georgia, but they moved the plant to Atala, Alabama. The Bama boys got it now.
Mm. There's a lot.
It's a lot. But like you said, the key is thinking off the box. You know them Chinese down there buying 10,000 pounds of rice? Who hauling it?
Yeah. And bags of rice, that stuff can be floor loaded.
It can be floor load.
Yeah. Now it's gonna be heck getting it out. I'd rather put them on
And then
pallets, but floor loaded.
the rice capital of the world over here is McGee, Arkansas. Call out there to McGee. They'll give you some load.
Mm.
Hey man, I love rice. And when I went out there for the first time, I seen them putting American rice in bags with Chinese writing on it.
Man, a lot of a lot of work out here. Now,
Yeah, so
when you
are
go after,
you gonna set your niche, or are you just gonna follow the line in the battlefield?
right now, what are some of the things that? Well, I guess you got to educate yourself when you first go after the customers.
Yeah.
When you go after them, we're talking just strictly cold calling, the cold calling technique. Some of the verbiage, of course, you basically introduce yourself, ask them about their lanes, or ask about, well, you said any logistics at this point.
A bunch of your big companies by law have to deal with a certain amount of minorities and women. Join these women groups that get you into those spaces, like with PepsiCo. They have a probably every quarter they have like a meeting with all the brokers and the logistics people show up, and um, things like that, where that will knock those doors open for you. But you're going to deal with these people. Know what you're doing.
Are you going to attend the Georgia Logistics Summit down there in Savannah this year?
I don't know. I usually go to the agribusiness down in Moultrie, Georgia, that they have every year. They have a big agribusiness uh
That's probably because
meeting.
that's in your space that all the
Yeah. I might, but the one reason why I like going to the agribusiness, when you're able to shake that farmer's hand, from
right,
hauling that equipment to that product, to that raw product.
right. Okay.
And the only thing the farmer want to know, hey, a farmer, your green's coming out in 3 months. I got the boxes to haul it. He might say, well, hey, son, if you willing to stick with me through the season, see, he don't want nobody want to come down there on the weekend, or come through every other day. No, these farmers want you to stay with them the whole season. So you might not see the house for 3 months
Hmm.
as a driver. But when you leave away from there, from when the season, you're gonna have the Brinks truck behind you. So when we leave Florida, we'll go up to Delaware. We'll leave the trucks there for 3 weeks until they switch all the equipment and get those fields ready. So we'll fly home for 3 weeks and then fly back to the trucks where the trucks are in the fields and start it all over again.
So follow the produce starts in the South around what, March, February?
Around March, first your potatoes are going to start. Frito-Lay and your regular potatoes, which your potatoes are running right now out of south of Jacksonville. They're doing a ton of potatoes now.
And you follow the produce up the Northeast until around when? October?
Yes, all the way up to across the
Massachusetts.
bridge in Virginia, Delaware,
Okay.
plus over. We haul a lot of that heavy applesauce out of Virginia, over out of Harrisonburg.
Yep.
That's where White House applesauce is, where they grow those apples in the mountains at.
Correct.
They always looking for somebody to haul that heavy stuff. So as a broker, one of the ways that you might be able to get by with it is to see, can you get you a good number to haul it on the road.
Hmm.
And that's my advice to any broker. Get with your railroad company, get you a good agent that you can call and say, hey, White House got some applesauce going down in Lakeland, Florida. What you'll charge me to get it down there? They got a door-to-door program. He might say 1,400.
Hmm.
You tell your customer 1,850.
So
Customer might say, no, let's do it at 16. Let's roll with it.
yeah, because you still made what, 200?
Still made 200. Now the customer starts sending you more freight. And
Now
then
we're
the more
talking
freight you
about
move with the railroad, the cheaper your freight is going to get.
Are you talking single stack well cars or double stack?
Single or double stack.
Interesting.
And
So
you
that,
know, one of the best things would be to do if you get you a good customer like that is seeking you get you a couple of about 8 to 9 or 10 of those trailers.
man, out of the box, thinking outside the box.
You have to.
So this is still good advice for even for the newer brokers to because I guess if you stay in the box, you're going to be competing with a lot of the other brokers because no one's really not thinking like this on these lines, right?
I have some of my real good friends that work for TQL. All of your big brokerages, when they come to Atlanta, they call me and we go party out. Uh, they take them customers to see ladies. They take them customers to strip clubs, eat in the finest restaurants. Oh yeah, they come with a credit card, buddy. So you compete. So you think you're just gonna ease in there now. Hey, it's a lot of times as a driver and a broker, I've had things left over on the truck, and I'll pull up in front of the whole office and drop something off.
Hmm.
I might ease by one morning with 3 dozen of Krispy Kreme.
Interesting. All about who you can get.
Ain't no games.
Yeah, I see. They want
Yeah.
who they want.
Oh yeah, I had a real good friend of mine. They had an office in D.C. and one in Kennesaw, Georgia. Man, that guy took us out for the night. I mean, ate real good, buddy. Steaks, lobsters. Man, coming down to handle business. And he's such a cool guy, and they such a big company. He signed our brokerage and trucking company up with their brokerage.
They wanted you guys. It was good.
Good for both teams, man.
Yeah.
So this guy, he graduated from Howard University. He been in high level. He grew up in that DC area. He been in high levels negotiations, government contracts.
Okay, so he might have been a frat guy too.
Oh
Catholic.
yeah,
Yeah.
for sure, for sure.
So yeah. Let me take a pause here for a second. Anyone got any questions for Mr. Carlos Walker of the logistics doctor? Any questions on your mind? I know that most of you guys are listening, but any questions? Okay, Chad said, would you say that food shipments are the best place to start off for new brokers? Food shipments. Carlos, what do you think?
Would it dry or
That's a good question. So you on your phone or you on the computer? You on your phone.
talking to me?
Yeah, yeah, I'm talking to you. You on your phone, right?
No,
So
I was walking out of the warehouse.
he says dry.
Yeah.
He says
Oh
dry food.
no, no. As long as it's dry goods, you're good. It's
Right.
not nothing time sensitive, or you have to be worried about it refrigerated. You just have to worry about letting the driver know, don't let the ants and the pests get to it, because we used to pick up sugar back in the day, and we didn't know. Hey, you leave that stuff sitting overnight, man, a bunch of ants get in it. You done bought some sugar. So we had to take the whole trailer load of sugar to a cold storage and let them sit it in the blast freezer for about 15 minutes.
Mhm.
A friend did it for me because, man, there was ants all over that trailer.
So what do you mean when you bought some sugar? That means that they're gonna refuse the shipment. You got to take
Yes,
ownership of it. You take ownership of it at that point,
you take ownership of it then.
and you don't get paid.
No, sir.
Okay. So you say that food shipments are the best place to start off for new brokerages. Dry food shipments. Okay. So now of the three equipment types, dry vans, flatbeds, and reefers, the reefers one runs the most risk, doesn't it? Because you have spoilage that comes into play.
Yes, it do.
Okay.
Yes, it do, because the equipment, some guys might not keep it up or anything could happen.
Yeah, certain types of commodities like strawberries or things that spoil real easily that you got to be mindful of.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Chad, you're unmuted. You got a question? Another question?
Yeah, yes. I just wanted to know any suggestions of, I guess, probably some of these dry shipments that would be less risky. I guess because I hear you talking about the sugar and other things, or is that just part of the name of the game kind of thing?
Did you hear him?
Yeah, no, what do you mean by less risky?
Um, I mean, so I guess so various bugs and this and that. I guess this is just part of the game that you gonna have to get used to overcoming.
Well,
I guess I'm just
you remember
like
to just cover yourself far as like with your insurance. There's only so much you can do. Once they pick it up and sign for it, it's out of your hands. But
I
it's
see.
just something you don't want to tell your driver. Hey, you got certain types of dry food on there. Don't park nowhere where it's a bunch of brush and debris, or where
I
the
see.
bugs can get it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I got you. So just being aware of what you got going on and make sure everybody's on the same page.
There you go.
I got you. All right. Well, yeah. Thank you for that.
Chad, where are you in your? Are you a broke? Do you have a brokerage yet? Or are you just in the process?
Yeah. So I've actually started a brokerage. I'm in the process of trying to get the surety bond. Just trying to get my money together and get that situated.
Okay, so the license, you don't have an active license yet. You're
Right. Right. Not yet, but
all right. Where
very
you
close.
based out of?
I'm in Baltimore.
Oh, Be more. Okay.
Yep. Yep.
What's good up there, Carlos, in the Baltimore area? What are some good commodities up that way?
Um, you got a lot of warehouses up there.
Okay.
You got a lot of military, tons of military.
Yeah, you got the ports and harbors and stuff like that, and
Yeah, yeah. We don't do too much in the ports.
yeah,
Baltimore is the biggest port for cars. Savannah, Georgia just became the biggest port for exporting. Yeah. Not Savannah, Brunswick, Georgia.
yeah. Okay.
So,
But I guess he should be okay with dry goods in the Baltimore area.
well, any that you guys got tons of seafood.
Yeah. Very
Uh,
true. Very true.
yeah, what's the name of that place down there? Is it Phillips? They sell
Yep.
crab cakes in the stores.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah, you got a ton of places like that. So, go around to those places and offer your services on that.
I see. I see.
Now, I hear people use these strategies too. You go to a supermarket and you pick a product off the shelf. You turn around, look at where it got shipped in from, or who's the distributor, or who's the manufacturer, and then do some reverse engineering and contact those companies. How effective is that process?
Well, you can do that. It's just like any broker looking to get in the door.
Yeah, because you figure it got shipped to this store because I got the product in my hand and I see the name of the company, so I contacted you guys to see if we can arrange, get involved in the outbound lanes. So, here's another question. Seafood asks, focusing on Houston, Southern Louisiana, and Colorado for shippers, what would be good for new brokers in your experience? He's talking to you, Carlos. So,
That Louisiana area, you got your petroleum, you got a lot of your raw sugar products coming out of there. out of that South Louisiana, and pesticides, herbicides.
Hmm.
You have a lot of seafood down there.
So the determination of your commodity as a broker depends on where you're located.
Yes, it does.
And
But you can be a broker anywhere in this country.
right. But once you start understanding what's moving in certain parts of the country, then you can decide if you want to jump into that space, especially if you
That's right.
particularly live in the area. If you're local
Yeah,
to a specific area, then you can actually physically visit the locations.
that's right.
Walk in and talk to them and things like that.
Like you say, down that way in Louisiana, that Texas area, all down through Louisiana, you got a lot of lumber
Yeah.
companies down through there, a lot of flatbedding, a lot of chemical companies down there. They're moving a lot of oil, like for your cars, different type of petroleum products.
Interesting.
A whole lot of food is manufactured down there. Bruce Foods. We used to stay down there with sweet potatoes sometimes 3 days, man.
So is there a lot of with the petroleum commodity? Is there a lot of hurdles with you dealing with that, like hazmat and things like that? Is there a lot of hurdles?
No, not motor oil and things like that. You know, you might pick up some 30-gallon drums of motor oil or different types of oils that they're having.
Hmm. So no, not too much red tape or hurdles with hazmat.
No,
Yeah.
no.
Okay. Good. Did that help you, seafood? He's typing in the chat. He typed his question in the chat, so just want to make sure. Where is he at? Where is he at? So yeah, petroleum, seafood, lumber. Okay. Raw sugar, oil, chemicals.
Yeah, and
Though
then all of those food products that makes that Louisiana hot sauce, Tabasco.
right. Oh yeah, that's right. They get the hot sauce. Yeah, that hot sauce brand, Louisiana hot sauce.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Dem Crystal. I think Bruce Foods make all that.
Hmm.
Yeah, Bruce is the one that does those sweet potatoes too, in the can.
So do you find that uh, food products is a challenge as far as getting into it as a broker?
Sometime it can be
Okay.
because people are trying to figure out what you're going to do with it.
He says also too, I heard piping on flatbeds is good, but I haven't found a shipper. So pipes and like rebar and stuff like that on flatbeds. I'm not
What
sure.
is he looking for?
He said he heard
Drivers?
well, just finding shippers for as far as hauling pipes and rebar and stuff like that.
Down that way,
Oil.
Birmingham, Alabama, up there around Chattanooga with those U.S. pipes. That rebar, a lot of it comes overseas, like off the barges, off the boats to Houston.
Yeah.
GP hauls a lot of that stuff. Georgia Pacific, so try to get set up
Yeah.
with them Koch brothers.
Yeah. Okay. And then so we got resources back here, seafood and you guys, the other guys, the students, we can look up certain, certain things based off the commodities, McRae's Blue Book and things like that. Truder says, would you stay away from certain areas or commodities?
No.
No, you go for anything.
Well, before I just, like I said, I go directly at it, I try to do a little homework.
Yeah. Yeah. So then after your homework, based off of your homework, you will determine whether you want to continue to pursue or not. If it's worth the
Oh
while.
yeah. Yeah, it's just like a guy I call and I asked him about his logistics. He said, "Man, we just work out in the oil fields." Well, I don't know nothing about that.
Okay.
So it's no use to me taking my time unless I'm willing to go down there in the oil fields and stay about 3 months and learn something.
So it's not basically not your lane.
No, it wasn't my lane at all.
Yeah. What about California? Anything going on in California?
Always. They grow produce year round. They have their season, season too, but always lettuce, almonds, you name it, man. That's the salad bowl. But also right now in the winter in New Mexico and Arizona down in those valleys, that's where like 60% of your root vegetables and things come from.
Mhm. Yeah. So I usually tell my
Potatoes.
dispatch students to be leery of California because of the whole AB5 thing, that Assembly Bill 5, as far as trying to make the drivers into employees as opposed to owner operators. That legislation that they came out with. So
I think, but if you have your own truck, it's going to be a different ballgame.
right.
But a lot of these guys, where they're trying to stop you just coming in being a 1099.
Now, here's something interesting that Seafood just put up here. He said in a conversation with an entrepreneur, they mentioned cryo. I guess cryogenic is a good field right now. Could either of you speak on what you've heard about cryogenic products right now, and how you would pinpoint shippers dealing with cryo?
We have a contract where we go to Memphis, from Atlanta to Memphis 5 times a month, and it has to be at minus 55 degrees.
Okay.
So that's when you start getting into that, and that's medical cryogenic stuff that we send over there. So we had to purchase a carrier unit exclusively for that.
Okay.
And also that unit has a 4 multi-temp different unit inside of it. So we can haul, like some may be at that temperature, but some don't need to be at that temperature.
Okay.
So it's like we set it up on an LTL where we can haul just one flat, or they might have 3 loads going over, 3 pallets going to Memphis. We can just put it in that nose section, and then I can run refrigerated, dry, and refrigerated again within that same unit.
Interesting. So there seems to be a market for it.
Yeah.
Hmm. And this is medical cryogenic products.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Might be blood. Um, and guy said he took some body parts. I picked him up at Emory or something and took something to Memphis. I don't know.
Yeah. That's interesting. Man. He said, okay, thank you. Is that just something you view as a problem to solve for a shipper, or can you find shippers needing that? I guess needing that arrangement of transport for those things.
Well, it's like a niche, but directly to go to. You know who's doing that type of stuff.
Yep.
So that's who you go to. You can call all your blood banks. Your guys pulling that plasma in, or might be the. Hey man, we don't know what's in them trailers.
Yeah.
They just give us a temperature and we just cut it off.
Right.
And and with those loads, they have access to the temperature at all times. It's studies sending a satellite stream. They know where it's at. They can change the temperature if they wanted to.
Hmm. Yeah. Okay.
And it's all about building a team. The bigger your team is, and everybody on the same page, the more you'll get things done efficient. You have somebody in sales, you have somebody that's kicking it from sales, out to the brokers. You might have agents that kicking them out to the broker agents. So, I have one of my clients, she have 10 ladies. They live in 10 different cities. They get up every morning. They do what they have to do. One of them is doing this, one doing that. They bring it all together and move it.
Hmm.
And, and they're providing services.
Interesting.
So, it's different avenues, but I just wanted to let people know, there's a lot of meat on the bone, but there's a lot of competition.
So what?
When you know, hey, I'm going to Campbell Soup today. Just know that C.H. Robinson just left and tucked them boys to the whorehouse last night. I can't do that. Not trying to offend anybody.
Yeah.
But when they slap the credit card down, man, they slap it down.
Mm.
And like I said, when they coming in town, they call me, man, and hey, man, meet us for dinner. I mean, man, I try to eat them out of house and home and bring a doggy back.
They want your services.
Oh yeah, but how many freight agents and my wife had to get on me about that. Every freight agent I used to meet, hey man, meet me for lunch. I pay for it. You say you got to stop doing that. Well, hey man, I feel like, hey man, I'm not wasting your time, but hey, it'll flip back.
Yeah. You say you don't deal, man. You don't deal with the intermodal piece, the ports and stuff like that, right?
Well, no, I deal with intermodal, but not port. I'm over in Georgia, so I'm not. I mean, in the Atlanta area, I don't go over to Savannah much for that. Now we have a ton of rail ports here where they're bringing it all in from the ports here. So, guy called me today, had a load $500 from Atlanta to Duluth, Georgia. 40-foot container. Had to be set up with CSX. Have your rail and your scat numbers.
Okay.
So on the weekends, I don't have time. A lot of times, like I left the warehouse and ran back to the house. I got 7 trucks coming in tonight that I have to unload, and 3 that I gotta reload. And then Sunday they're gonna come in and get those loads that those 7 trucks left.
So transloading.
Yeah, so that's and consolidate
Yeah,
because those 3 trucks are gonna take. I told you those LTLs I do for this lady up the East Coast. So I do no less than 50 pallets a week for her on that. So I send those up to New Jersey to be consolidated in Kenner, New Jersey, and Carney's Point. And then those guys, local guys, are delivery.
Hmm.
Because hey man, I'll be catching hell if I had to get these Southern boys to go up there. And they gonna want an arm and a leg from down here. But so I can get a straight shot of them boys that live up there in Jersey, and I pay them good to just run them up there. They don't have to do no picking up and none of that.
Right. Yeah, you're busy. I'm gonna have to get down there. You're not leaving town or anything? You're gonna be in the Atlanta area within the next month or so?
I should. My cousin, she owns a seafood restaurant, and she want to do like 24-hour seafood spots, just like fish only, dirt cheap. They had a spot down here, T.I. and Killer Mike, the rappers, bought called Bankhead Seafood.
Right.
And back in the day, $5, you go, they give you a lid of fish, pound high. So they getting ready to start it back up, but they're not gonna do it like that. So they're gonna bring that back, and we're trying to figure out a type of fish that we can get down like in Peru that we could just bring back up here frozen on the containers.
Man, they may have to franchise that out to VA and other places.
Well, I know in VA they right there in Maryland area they got that lake trout spot they do with the fried fish.
Yeah. You probably talking about off VA, man, probably Eastern Shore area.
No, this is right in by DC. It's called lake trout.
Okay.
and they do like whiting and different things like that. But we can get a product. Like I said, I'm waiting for Mr. Nelson to go back down to Africa, man. If we can get a hookup on some seafood down there at an excellent price, it'll be even better.
I haven't spoken to him lately. Have you spoken to him?
No, I haven't spoken to him.
Okay. I may fly down there to where you are. I don't know where's a good hotel in your area down there.
Well, I'm right here on Lake Lanier. We have a resort here, hotels, 45 minutes from Atlanta if you want to just stay in the city.
Nah, I'd rather stay out the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're right here in the Shawnee, Georgia, Flowery Branch. I'm like right around the corner from the Atlanta Falcons training camp.
Okay. So if I look up Lake Lanier, I can find something around there.
Oh yeah, for sure.
All right.
And I told you, Gainesville, Georgia is the chicken processing capital of the world, buddy. You know, you'll spend a month here going to processors.
Yeah.
They have one of the world's biggest producers of powdered eggs, egg whites, and yolks. And powdered eggs, you know, we hated them growing up. Go in the grocery store and try to buy some now and see how much they cost.
Too much.
Too much, but hey, life-sustaining commodity.
Yeah.
So, you know, we got a lot. They're building a new Rivian car plant here. So if somebody want to get into that car hauling, they need to be trying to get hooked up with Rivian.
Yeah. Rivia and Central Dispatch, maybe?
I don't know. Well, I know the car manufacturer Rivian is going to have a place down there in east, like going towards Augusta, Georgia, Morganton County, Georgia. We already have a battery plant here for, I think it's SBK batteries in Commerce, Georgia. They're making electric batteries. They're building a new Hyundai plant. I passed by this place coming from Hilton Head, Savannah last time. It looked like it was 50 blocks long. They're building a new Hyundai car plant.
Man, it's just so much out here. It's interesting that there's so much out here. It's almost like a smorgasbord. You know, decide what you want to do. So, Fish Hale, you unmuted yourself. Did you have a question? I thought he had a question, but what? In that case, does anyone else have any questions for Mr. Carlos Walker from Logistics Doctor? With, as you can tell, he is a plethora of information. A library of logistics. That's the name of a good company. Library of Logistics.
So, man, you know, through the years of trial era and just staying at it.
Yeah. So, I'm just trying to put together right now what my goal is, Carlos. I'll share it with you. Me and Melvin, he's calling me now, but I asked him to come into the. I wish he would have came in on the Zoom call. Him and my other partner Al up here in Hampton. We got that warehouse. We're doing small transloads right now, but we're trying to piece that together and build it up. But I'm trying to put together a power team of agents, you know, under Melvin's established brokerage, Ping Freight, and then we just take off from there. Make sure it's done correctly. Make sure it's, you know, built up.
Well, you know, your guy you turned me on out of Milwaukee.
Uh-huh.
About 3 weeks ago, he got his first customer.
Really?
Oh yeah.
What kind of customer? He didn't report to me.
Got him a Christmas tree. He got him a Christmas tree customer.
Okay, so kind of a seasonal thing, huh?
There you go.
But
so
in Milwaukee,
next season,
that's good in Milwaukee because the season lasts a long time over there.
no, and they grow in North Carolina and somewhere up north.
Oh, okay, so he got some good lanes then.
Good lanes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I had to get with him and see how that's going. How he got the customer. What did he do?
I had to walk him through the process. Let's pick something. Let's see what it is, and let's go at it. Made about 5 calls, and the lady said, "Hey, why not?"
Right. He just gave him a shot.
Oh yeah, but I also told them call back because they receive supplies, they receive fertilizer, they receive the cables and the things they have to wrap the Christmas trees and things up in.
So they're inbound. You need their inbound, who their customers are, or who they're getting their inbound supplies from. So those could be potential customers.
There you go. And who they're getting their suppliers from, you even go at them too.
Right. And I usually tell the students, you can not the only, I mean, outbound is your main focus, but you got inbound lanes as well. Who's bringing you who's bringing you your products to make your widgets or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And like I say, if you might be in a town where you have a lot of people that have products that they want to put on the shelves, they just need some logistics.
Mhm. So now we keep saying that word, but let's break. Give me your definition of that word, logistics. What does that entail?
Uh, facilitating something from one place to another. It could be you taking a pie across the street, to your neighbor. It's logistics. You got to go over there and do it and get back. So, facilitating the movement. It could be of people, animals, equipment.
Right. And
What's the logistics?
so
Or hey Charles, what's the logistics when you come down? You might say, well, hey, I might come down 95 and hit 20, or I might run down 85 over to 85 to implore you, come on across and hit 85 and come down.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, you know the area because that's exactly what it is.
I was running that area, buddy, when Bojangles had all you can eat.
Yeah. Oh man.
Oh yeah. 99-cent biscuits in the morning. Those golden days are over.
Yes, sir. Never to return.
Never to return. So, and you got a lot of farm products over there off of that Eastern Shore, North Carolina, sweet potatoes that are moving right now, heavy. Cucumbers, if they're not finished with them.
Yeah.
But you have a lot of Asian vegetables coming out of Vidalia, Georgia, that area. They do a lot of carrots, Napa cabbage, celery, radishes.
Interesting. So once you come into the understanding, either networking and talking to others or just doing your own homework and legwork of where commodities are and how they move, it'll make it easier for you as a new broker to have that conversation with the potential customer.
Oh yeah. And going from these warehouses to warehouses, we so many warehouses is ridiculous. And dealing with a lot of people, man, they you think they just know what they're moving. Man, they know the game. I went to this place, this guy, he imports in vacuum cleaners and from like small ones for the home to industrial sizes from India. And he was like, "Hi, well, I don't know, man. What do you think you're charging? I'm just trying to see." And I gave that guy a price. That guy said, "Hold on, let me make a phone call." 10 minutes later, he came back. They got a circle, so you're not outsmarting nobody, and don't let them outsmart you.
Right. He probably called somebody who does it and knows the numbers real well and just to get some
Oh yeah,
information.
yeah. They know. He already knew what that ship load was paying coming from Savannah to Atlanta.
Yeah. Hmm. Yeah, I may have to book a flight out of Norfolk coming down to, I guess, to the Atlanta, and then how far is it? How far is the drive from Atlanta to Lake Lanier?
Maybe 30, 40 minutes.
Okay. 'Cause I probably end up that because that's probably the closest airport coming in there. Atlanta
Oh
International.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Norfolk International to Atlanta International. Hopefully it's a straight through flight.
Yeah, sometimes they want to run you over to DC.
Yeah, I hate that. Ugh.
Yeah. But I go to Atlantic City a lot, and a lot of people like Vegas. From Atlanta, it's cheaper. We have the boardwalk food. I can rent a car and be in Philly or New York or somewhere. I just don't like Vegas. Now, when we do go out there, we go to Reno a lot. Real gambling town, great food. Don't have all the fritz and thrills, and you can relax.
Okay.
Yeah, man, come on down.
Yeah. You get with the wife and have a conversation with her and see if she wants to come. Um, Next week is an off training week for me, so next 2 weeks actually. I may look into it just to get down there. So bring the credit card.
Yeah, she'll like that.
Yeah, I'm sure. All right.
I
Any
gotta
other?
They have a
Go
lot
ahead.
of places down here that, what I'm saying, that have some nice things, but you go to hanging out with them tourists, man, you'll have to rob a bank.
Yeah, yeah. Trudeau's asked, he said, would you underbid to get initial contracts? Or would you try to at least stay competitive? How would you do it, Carla? Would you underbid to get the contract, or would you do something else?
Well, what I would ask is, what do you mean? What is underbidding? I tell you, everybody has a breaking point. So you do what you have to do for you.
Can you expound on that, Trudeau, a little bit?
Well,
Sure.
you don't want to do anything. Oh, go ahead.
So would you underbid, meaning if, let's say, the average for the freight was to be transported in that lane was $5,000, would you cut under that amount to get the bid?
If you could get a carrier to do it, I
Okay.
would.
So you're saying like
But
47, 4,800 or something like that, or?
yeah, well, I don't know. Could be cheaper than that. Now, just say if you have a customer that's giving you 10 loads and you have one of them to where, you're just catching hell moving it. Sometimes you might just have to, you've moved 10 loads for the guy or the person and you've made money. You might have to take a little bit of that money to move his load with to keep your customer happy. I've had to do that.
Mm.
So a lot of these lanes these big customers take, they don't make money on all of them, but they're doing so much capacity, they can move enough to make money.
Yeah.
If I'm moving $1 million worth of loads for you a month, I can't take 50,000 and move those loads that are a little bit harder to move.
You certainly can.
So, oh yeah.
Hmm. So it's all about strategy, getting in, technique, skill set, education, knowledge, understanding. A lot of intermovable parts when you think about it, as opposed
A
to just,
lot of it.
yeah. But once you get that first customer, get in and get the process down and start tendering your freight for the first customer, then the technique and the process, the workflow becomes the same. Only thing that changes is the customer and the
Yeah.
commodity and the frequency of it. So
Yeah.
it's getting that first customer, getting over that hurdle.
Well, like I said, just staying consistent, and doing a little homework. You don't have to know everything, but just doing that little homework will help. So sometimes where I didn't have to run myself crazy trying to figure out, hey, I would latch on to the steel producers. So, I would do my homework and I would just call just steel producers.
Mm.
And see, a lot of these places like Kubota, they have so many vendors, they're begging for people to come in and move this stuff.
But then if that's the case, then those would be the ones that we would target first. Those who are begging for the service. But the question becomes education. You got to understand and know who they are, right? Where to look.
Well, if you got a place, they got 300 workers, something going on.
Yeah.
And they're manufacturing. So, you're not going to get the same out of a little small manufacturing place.
Yeah. So a big steel company like the most common one you hear about is what's that? Nucor, right?
You talking about
Steel.
no, they changed their name. It was called Newell.
Okay.
It was Rubbermaid Newell. They changed the name, but I think Rubbermaid still owns them. What's crazy, the guy who's the head of engineering for Rubbermaid Newell in Boston, Massachusetts, flew down here because they have a big hub down here. Took us to dinner, fed us good. He had a crush on her when he came from India, and still did. And asked her why she was with me.
Mm.
Man, I ate into this guy, man. So excellent, man. The guy had a tear in his eye. But he didn't give us no business.
Mm.
So you run into things, man. Hey, some people have access. The only thing they got to do is just give it to you.
Yeah. So now what's in the what's good over there in the Wisconsin or the Chicago area?
Man, Chicago is a manufacturing hub, man. Wisconsin is too. So you tell me, they got it. Green Bay with all the packing products and paper products, that stuff goes out everywhere.
Right.
Toilet paper,
You can
Chicago, the manufacturing hub.
pick
See,
your
the good part about Chicago, they have so many like family-owned establishments that's creating products. And the LTL market up there is stupid. Stupid.
you just gotta understand.
We used to wait a day and a half in Chicago to get the best excellent rates Saturday morning. Kill them.
Mm.
Running back south down to Georgia or down to Florida. Murder them.
Are the hardest routes out of Chicago typically long hauls?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
No, not necessarily. And so they manufacture so many products, man. From candy to seafood to frozen LTLs to fresh. I used to run dog food out of Atlanta and pick up at the place that made the steel and to bring it back so they can make dog food cans to put back in them. Dedicated.
Mm. So that's a manufacturing hub. So you pretty much dealing with those manufacturing companies who need their finished goods shipped to their customers.
And then don't forget Southern Illinois and all up there in the northern parts. They growing corn, soybeans. There's a lot of hopper bottom stuff moving around here.
Yeah. We got hopper bottoms over in the Eastern Shore.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Those shells over there. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's good to know then. That's good to know. So any of you from Chi-Town, I see my friend on here, Chirac, Miss Sky. hooking you up with some potential manufacturing shippers over there.
Yeah, as big as the Chicago school system is, just go to the area office where they handle logistics. I know we pick up over at the cold storages certain times a year for Cleveland, Georgia, all up in these old country mountain towns. Might have like 6 drops, but hey man, they pay good money.
That's another thing too, with like refrigerated load or even dry goods with
They
the
get a ton of dry goods.
with
They,
the
they have they have
how does the pay work when you're dealing with multiple pickups and multiple stops? How do you price
it
that?
it all depends. Are you dealing with one customer, or do you have 10 pallets on that truck that you picked up from 10 different customers?
LTL, okay, yeah.
Yeah, and where it's coming from. So a lot of times, in order for me to I call it building a load. Sometimes I have to look in certain areas, like I got 5 pallets that's coming from Colorado that's going down to Tampa, Florida, that's coming to my warehouse here.
Okay.
Probably another extra $300, but I'm building the load. And I'm always hoping and wishing that $1,000 pallet that them 2 pallets worth $1,000, man, we need it down there. Come on in with it. So it's like uh, a game of not up and down, but it can be lucrative. And people know, sometimes I can get a pallet moved for $100 a pallet. Sometimes it takes that same pallet $1,500.
Mm.
Depends on where you're going. How heavy? Is it refrigerated? Does it require lift gate service? Um, I have a deal with the Chinese Panda Bus Company to where if I buy a seat, I can put a certain amount of cases of water in that seat to send to like alkaline water customers that we have, or one of my customers will call me and they'll do e-commerce procurement shipping, and they'll send me the order. So, however I get it moved, that's my responsibility.
Mm.
And a lot of times people don't want to buy water because you're spending $50 on some alkaline water. I don't want to spend $50 on shit
Mm-hmm.
because it's super super heavy. So what you do, you set up your own super hubs. You set up your own uh, distribution. I have friends in Florida, drive trucks every week. He come to Atlanta. He take a bag about a pallet or two, or whatever he can fit in the truck.
Mm.
So always thinking out of the box and thinking that, hey, all them old little raggedy warehouses you might ride by, they need logistics sometimes too.
Yeah. Interesting. Man. Any
So it's pretty much how you want to look at it. You want to get down dirty raw bones, or I have one of my clients, she dressed with her Gucci heels and a Prada dress and jacket, and she go out and knock on them skyscraper doors and them big boys. She said that's all she want to do.
hmm.
But see, she's running around in some big circles.
Yeah. Yeah.
So she got one contract. She runs about 30 loads of Pepsi down to Central Florida out of Atlanta every day.
So now what about so we did say Chicago, Wisconsin. What about and we covered the southeast, a little bit of the northeast. I guess Chicago is kind of considered the Midwest. I was going to say more like Ohio, Michigan, Indiana, Kentucky area.
You got a lot of manufacturing up there too, a lot of automobile plants.
Yeah, Honda's over in Marysville, Ohio.
Over there around Muncie, Indiana, you got a big plant up there.
Yeah.
So yeah, those are, Indianapolis, those are manufacturing hubs, man.
Yeah. I used to live out in Noblesville, which is like Castleton, Noblesville, which is not far from Indianapolis,
Oh
69.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So
I went out there one time and picked up a whole mustard plant. They just broke everything down on the inside, loaded it in the truck, and I took it to Georgia to a farm.
man,
But yeah, they do a lot of copper coming out of that Missouri. What is that area right there? Is it Copper, Missouri, or Copperhead, Missouri?
yeah, I'm trying to.
Right there where the river at. They do a lot of copper out of there. I picked up a load in there years ago. I didn't get out the truck to see what it was. I closed the doors, went home for the weekend, parked in the grocery store parking lot with a lock on it, and took it to Florida Disney World. It was a load of copper wire, 45,000 pounds.
Mm,
They have a lot of copper products coming out of Pensacola, Florida, Panama City, Florida. A lot of it, and they tell you when you pick these products up, they're worth $300,000 to $500,000. When you pick your load up, it goes to soft wire in Carrollton, Georgia, where they turn it into wire. You don't stop for nobody. They will hijack you, take your truck, and kill you.
mm,
So if you're gonna stop places, you make sure you haul loads like that. First of all, you don't tell nobody what you haul, and you let your drivers know that too. Hey man, you got $300,000 worth. I was in Brooklyn, New York one night, and a lady was on the CB asking for directions to Budweiser, man.
mm.
I said, ma'am, go to another channel right quick. And I gave her my phone number and she called me. I said, look, lady, don't be on the CB asking for where the Budweiser plant. These people know you got beer on your truck. I've seen them open the doors, buddy, while the guy's going down the street and unload that trailer. Pull your airline.
Oh yeah, you're in trouble then.
Oh yeah. And it's a year off the bat if you get caught with a gun in New York.
Mm,
Every time I went in, I had a pistol and an AK-47, man. I'd be damned if I'm gonna die. But hey, man, I was also 21, 22 years old. Crazy.
yeah,
But when I go up there now, man, I don't get guys go in there, get off the exit ramp, and it's not the same as it was.
right.
But yeah, those states like that, Florida, they're having a lot of freight that's coming out of there now, especially a lot of plants out of Central Florida,
Mm-hmm.
ton of plants, especially down in South Georgia, North Florida. They have a lot of nurseries there. Down in Alabama, they grow a lot of foliages and trees and plants.
Hmm.
And Mississippi is supposed to be one of the biggest sweet potato producers right now in the United States.
Yeah.
You got a lot of your crawfish producers in Louisiana along that Gulf Coast. And a lot of times they be needing a lot of lift gate services down there at those places. Don't let that discourage you. Sometimes you might have to, as a broker, go on the load board and request a lift gate. When they call, tell them you'll pay them to go over there and just put the lift gate and just stick it on the guy's trailer. You might have to get a guy $500, but you getting things moved.
Yeah. Let me pause here. Any questions for Mr. Carlos?
And
No
like I told you,
question.
I don't do all this stuff by myself.
It takes
Oh yeah,
time,
I have a
experience.
friend of mine that has one leg. I went to middle school and high school with. He's my nighttime guy. He don't have to work. He get disability, but he's my nighttime guy. You can't reach nobody. You're gonna be able to reach that guy.
Mm. So I'm
And
looking.
I've trained him enough to be able to make decisions because one night the guy called from the warehouse saying, "Hey man, we got 2 pallets. We don't know where they're going. They done mixed up. They couldn't get the GPS systems right on it." And he knew what was up because he had the paperwork in front of him.
Mm. Mm.
And I hate hauling these loads. They're breaded clam strips, and they can be smashed real easily, and they don't accept no smash boxes, man. Very delicate.
So it's not concealed damage, it's damage, it's visible.
It can be, but what I do, I wrap it up with enough bubble wrap to where Gorilla gonna have to act a fool. Because hey man, one time, hell man, we were right eating clam strips, and everybody I knew, a pallet of it they didn't accept. And I talked to the guy and we just cut a deal, and I just gave the guy some cash. But I did business with him again.
Yeah. Very good.
David Janeka, the Janeka brothers out of New York, upstate New York, they handle the majority of the watermelon for like ShopRite, uh, Pathmarks, those stores up there on that East Coast. Things can get a little gangster with the guys, man.
Yeah.
They'll send you a tender over, man. They might send you over 100 loads. Everything good. Then they might tell you, I got 20 loads that's going to be inspected by the USDA. Don't worry about it. Hang the phone up. You're like, what the hell is he talking about? And you got all those drivers sitting with them loads waiting on the USDA to inspect them. They bullshitting around. And if you don't know what's going on, man, you make them guys mad, man. Them guys come unglued on you.
Yeah. An issue.
And the best thing to do is, hey Dave, I know you ain't had your coffee this morning. Just straighten this shit out. And you hang the phone up. So there's just certain customers, man, you got to baby these guys. Certain ones, you got to be like, hey man, you're not gonna just do that. Ohio, they grow a lot of watermelons up there. Newcomers Town, George Dars. That guy handles a lot of produce up that way. What I used to like about old George Dars, when you deliver it to him, that old man will cut you a check on the spot. And if you left way from there and you made that right out of his driveway, the Newcomers Town Bank right there. The only thing you had to do is put the 4-ways on. Run in and get your cheese, man. Old farmers. Then when the melons was over with, we hauled pumpkins with them. When the pumpkins was over with, his daughter and his son-in-law owned a company where they sold candied apples up and down the East Coast. Had a beautiful manufacturer. They did regular candied apples and those caramel apples. So these things come from being on the road for years, man.
One last question here. Seafood asks, said one last question based on this. Liquor distributors, is that a kind of like a mafia cartel deal, or is it legit for small brokers?
As long as they got an LLC, you got a way of getting paid through legal means. I don't know what they do. We know it's always some savory element that we dealing with somewhere, but no, that's not my business. No, that's for the cops. That's for the cops and the robbers. See, as long as I go in there with my good intentions.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, dealing with these Chinese food distributors, it ain't nothing but the Chinese mafia.
Hmm.
But you know, these people have legitimate businesses, as well as the Italian mafia, Irish.
Yeah, they're not playing, huh?
You know, it's just, you know, hey, certain places, you know, you just don't step on no toes. I try to stay out of them.
Yeah.
But no, I don't even let that come to my mind. But I have been in situations to where I met with some Russians with my Korean friend, and he was trying to move 300,000 pounds, no, 300 metric tons of ammonium nitrate for his dad. And we both looked at each other when he left, like, oh yeah, Russian mafia. And nah. But you know, hey man, business is business.
Mm.
You know, that there haven't been an Alaskan crab season in the last 2 years. I don't think it's going to be one this year. The water's too hot. The crabs ran to Russia.
Hmm. Interesting.
That's
Well,
why if you see the deadliest catch now, they're catching crab out of Norway now, Norwegian crab, friendly country. They go across that water up there in Alaska, cross over to Russia. Gunboats will blow them out the water.
mm,
That's where we used to get most of our crab from. They probably haven't stopped it from Russia.
yeah.
So everybody, let's get to work.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. As always, I appreciate your time and great questions, guys. Hopefully there was some inspiration and motivation for you. One more thing before I get off here. I'm looking at the area, Lake Lanier and hotels and stuff. I was on Google here. Trying to see because my wife was saying something about the flights will kill me. I said, well, I'm better off driving. There's no point in
No, sometimes it's cheaper to fly in Atlanta because it's a connection.
yeah.
Just check and see.
Well, we're
Because
coming out of this area, coming out of Norfolk, she was saying, going down there.
it still might be. Like
Yeah.
I said, but coming to this connection down because what they might have to do is they'll send you to DC
Yeah.
and then bam. But it's not a bad drive either. You know that.
Yeah. It's like about 8 hours, maybe less.
Yeah.
But I'm looking at the hotels over here. You stay Lake Lanier, Beaufort. You're in that area,
Yeah. Flowery Branch.
Flowery Branch. Let me look there on the map. So pretty much right here. Here's one right here, Hampton Inns and Suites, right here, Flowery Branch, off of 985.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then you have the Mall of Georgia. There's one exit down, the biggest mall in Georgia.
Okay.
That's probably
So you're north of
15,
Atlanta.
15 minutes away. Yeah, I'm north of Atlanta.
Okay.
You see what the lake is? That's Atlanta's drinking water. That's a reservoir.
Okay, got it. Okay, you got yeah, the Beaufort Park, the Beaufort Dam Park, and then Beaufort Corn Maze. Okay.
Yeah.
Flowery Branch. I might just get something in Flowery Branch since you're pretty much that's where you are. Okay. Yeah, I'll think about that and come down there either next week or we got the next. You know, so fly out of Richmond, BWI, Southwest, and BWI is cheap. Yeah, BWI. Richmond is closer to me. That means I would have to drive an hour north from Norfolk to Richmond, then get on a
Yeah.
flight.
Yeah.
But Norfolk's literally right here. I don't know what the point would that be, but I guess to save money. But
The Norfolk prices are much higher.
yeah, quote my wife. She's in the living room looking at it now. She's saying it's kind of crazy. So, but I mean, I would drive. I'll just grab a snatch a rental and just drive down there. I'll, you know, Spirit is usually $49 from Richmond. Yeah, but what about from Norfolk? This, I mean, I know Spirit comes out of Norfolk as well. So
Yeah.